Today is Thursday, early afternoon. I've only had 3 orders since yesterday, but I've been a bit slower just with both eBay and my work, so I've had more time. I've been getting a good bit of listings done, and I've got a nice sized draft bank going. And I figured since things were slow, I would go ahead and just pack my orders for today instead of waiting until tomorrow. So I've only got 3 orders going out for a total of $39.68. And even with getting more listings done, things are still a little on the slower side. As resellers on eBay, we often complain about the buyers because, well, the bad buyers tend to draw all of our focus and our attention. And there are plenty of bad buyers out there. But I think a lot of times we don't focus on the good buyers, the buyers that buy something, they're happy with it, they don't cause any issues, hopefully they leave some positive feedback, and you just don't have problems with them. I got a message from a buyer the other day, and I guess it's the eBay default sound on my phone. You get the cha-ching whenever you sell something, and there's that other noise. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm guessing that a lot of you know what I'm talking about. And when I hear that sound, I don't want to say I cringe, but I'm always expecting it to be at best a lowball offer or a return request. And it's not always that. Sometimes it's items that I've comped from other sellers and they send me an offer, or it could be, eBay saying, get 15% off now on small kitchen appliances. So it's not always bad, but I think a lot of times as sellers, we're jaded to the point where, at least me, when I hear that, I'm just like, oh brother, what is it now? But it wasn't that at all. It was a buyer who I'd sold a cookbook to, and here's what they wrote. Hello, we received this in good shape. Thanks again, Bill. I guess it's just refreshing whenever they go through the effort to send you a message, hey, we received the item and it's in good shape, thank you. As opposed to someone fishing for a partial refund, wanting to send something back, just the problems that as resellers we often see. So I just thought that was nice that they did that. They left me positive feedback, and of course I left positive feedback in return. So now I'm going to go pull my orders. First item is on the LP shelf, and it's this Poly Hot Pot, and this sold for $10.29 plus shipping. In the O2 bin, I sold a book. The Dummy's Guide to Starting Your Own Business, and this sold for $14.44 plus shipping. Back in my eBay room, and I've got a book here in bin C, and it sold for $14.95 plus shipping. Out of these 3 items, both of the books came from the bin store. They would have been super cheap, either $1 or maybe $2. And the Poly Hot Pot came from an estate sale. Now, I don't remember how much I paid for this because I'm not looking at it. It may have been $5. I don't think it was, though. I think it was $2.50, but I'm not 100% sure. There's something funny about this hot pot that I'll share with you in a second, but I want to smell this. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but I want to smell it. When I bought the hot pot, I didn't really notice that it had kind of what I call an old person smell. And I'm not trying to be offensive by saying that. I mean, there are just some places where older people live and they have, for lack of a better term, an old person smell. And I didn't notice it, I don't think, whenever I bought the pot, because I think the whole house had that smell. But when I got it home, it definitely had that very distinct aroma. So I did include that in the title of the listing. And I'll show you here, I wanted to fully disclose that it had that particular smell. So you can see that I put it has old person smell. So I used the AI description, and I did see this whenever I did the AI description, but I thought it was funny, so I just left it. The Vintage Regal Poly Hot Pot model K7427 in lemon cream color is a must-have for collectors of small kitchen appliances. It has a unique old person smell that adds to its charm and is sure to evoke memories of simpler times. like I said, I saw that and I don't know, I thought it was funny, so I left it. But I did smell the hot pot just now because it's been sitting for, I don't know, a few months, I guess. And it does kind of have a smell. It's not as strong as what I remember, but it definitely still has kind of that smell. So that's why I put it in the title and the description that it's going to have, you know, it's going to have that. It was actually listed for more money, but I'm like, it's been sitting for a few months. It does kind of have a funky smell. So that's one of the items that I did lower the price on. So I'm not really making a whole lot on it, but at least it's out of here, and you know, someone else can enjoy the old person smell that reminds them of simpler times. Of course, probably I'll end up getting a return on it with the way things are going right now, so who knows. Today is Friday. It's actually pretty early Friday. I had a job scheduled this morning, a residential job, and they called and canceled, which I'm really not complaining about because for one reason it's raining. And so although I'm mostly working inside, I'm in and out the house a lot and I don't want to get wet. So I will work in the rain when I have to, but it's really miserable because I get soaking wet if it's raining hard. And then I walk in the customer's house, I'm dripping water everywhere. So it's really not an ideal situation. Sometimes if I know it's going to be bad weather and I'm really sure that it's going to happen, because you know, a lot of times they say it's going to be bad and it's really not that bad. But if I'm pretty sure it's bad, I will call the customer and explain the situation to see if they want to hopefully not cancel the job, but maybe reschedule it for later. It really never becomes an issue because most people don't want you dripping water all over their house, because even with a rain jacket, it's still dripping off of me. So anyway, and the second reason that I didn't really care that the job canceled was because it seems like almost every weekend my sinuses start acting up. And the big reason today is because this weather system came in. And so that's definitely the trigger. But not having the job this morning gave me time to do a store reset, which I haven't done in a long time. I did almost a whole nuclear reset. I've got 850, I think 856 items listed right now. So I did 800 of them because most of the 53 items were recently listed anyway. So I did do the 800, and I only had 2 sales prior to me doing the mostly nuclear reset. And within 45 minutes or so after I did the reset, I got 3 more orders. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check and see those orders if it was stuff that's kind of stale inventory and has been sitting around for a while. No, one of the 3 items was something that I just listed within the last week, so I don't know if the reset had anything to do with that, but the other 2 items are definitely stale inventory. I was going through my extra bedroom earlier this morning. I was looking for something completely non-reselling related, and I knew I had death pile in that room. I guess I just didn't know how much death pile that I had in there. And I actually found totes of items that I bought previous to me starting to resell on eBay. Now, I've sold on eBay since the early 2000s, but back then it was just a very minimal amount, and then I stopped for quite a few years. I stopped for not just quite a few, many years, until year before last is when I was like, you know, I would like to do this heavily part-time and potentially grow it into full-time. But before that, back in so I started in 2022. In 2021, I was amassing some inventory with the idea that I was going to do reselling. And at the time I was still married. I tried to get my wife involved. I tried to get my ex-wife involved, and she really wasn't interested. It just wasn't her thing. So the point is, I was going to garage sales, was going to Goodwills and other thrift stores and starting to build up some inventory. Well, I kind of forgot about that inventory. So when I was in there, I was looking for just a little plastic container with some nuts and bolts and stuff in it. And I'd seen it recently, but I couldn't remember where. So I had to go through some totes, and because look, I'm a slacker. Some of my totes are labeled with things like from when my son used to live at home. I've got I need to be charging him rent with all the junk that he still has here. But I have some totes labeled, and I have a lot of totes that are not labeled. So I was looking through those totes, and I found a good bit of items. So I do need to pull some of that stuff out of there to get listed. So on one hand, it's just more death pile that I have to deal with. But on the other hand, I think it's some decent stuff. I've got some nice plush in there, and I think it's not super valuable, not $30 or $40 plush, but trying to remember when I bought these things that I think they comped pretty well. So the bigger point that I'm trying to make is I've already kind of slacked off on my sourcing, and I think I said that maybe earlier in this video or the last video, but I have slacked off a fair amount, and I think I'm going to slack off even more. Probably the only sourcing that I'm going to continue to do that I've been doing is estate sales, because typically I don't come home from estate sales with tons of inventory. I feel like, you know, garage sales, I mean, there's garage sales everywhere right now. I couldn't go this morning. Well, I could have went, but I did have the job scheduled, which I didn't know that was canceled until 8, well, a few minutes after 8 this morning. Plus it was raining, so I probably wouldn't have went out anyway. Although when it rains, if they're still having the garage sale, there may be less people and better items to pick from. But when it rains, a lot of people do cancel their garage sales. So maybe I could go out tomorrow. I have been doing well with slacking on the bin store stuff. I might still go a few times a month, but really I'm only looking for really the cream of the crop there. The last couple times that I went to the bin store, you know, I did much better, but I really need to refine that a little bit more. I guess in a nutshell, I'm just really trying to refine my sourcing more and more. I'm definitely grateful that I have the opportunity to almost have unlimited sourcing. Maybe unlimited is not the right word, but between multiple bin stores, about 7 or 8 Goodwills within an hour, actually less than an hour in most cases, in any direction, other thrift stores, garage sales, good bit of estate sales here. I almost feel like I could have, you know, 3 or 4 people working for me. With all those sources combined, there just seems to be no shortage of inventory. And that's on top of many other resellers in the area. And you know, I almost never go to Goodwills or other thrift stores. I haven't been going to garage sales. I haven't been going to the Amazon bin store very much lately. I've mostly only been going to estate sales. And some days I can't even get to all those because there's so many of them. So I'm grateful that I have that opportunity here, but I simply don't have the time or the space or the manpower to source as much as I potentially could source and get it listed and get it sold. And speaking of solds, it seems like almost everything that I'm selling this week are very low dollar items. Granted, I have a lot of low dollar items, but usually there's some things mixed in there that have a little more profit in them, and it just really hadn't been the case lately. So with the sale that you just heard come through, that gives me 6 orders going out for a grand total of $51.66. So I'm going to go pull those items right now. In F4, I've got some Jeep Wrangler accessories, and these sold for $9.95 plus shipping. In H3, I've got some supplements, and man, I got a lot of these. And these sold for $6.84 plus shipping. In 05, I've got a book. '13th edition management, and this sold for $15.95 plus shipping. In H10, I've got a urinary leg bag, and this sold for $4.09 plus shipping. On the LS2 shelf, I've got some disposable briefs, and these sold for $9.14 plus shipping. Back in my eBay room, in the P bin, I've got a Superman figure, and it sold for $5.69 plus shipping. The Superman figure came from a church sale, and it was either 50 cents or $1. It was super cheap. Super. The Jeep Wrangler non-slip accessories, these are like for the cup holder and like on top of the console and stuff. These came from the bin store, and they were probably $1. The urinary leg bag, bin store again, and it would have been maybe $5 fill a bag or 50 cents. I'm sure I wouldn't have paid more than that for it. The supplements, which I still have a lot of, I lowered the price on these. They're actually worth a lot more than what I have them listed for, but they're close dated, so I did lower the price on these. They came from the bin store for $1. The management book, I actually picked that up the other day. I don't remember which trip, but it was either $1 or $2. And the adult briefs, those came from the bin store, I think for $1. I got one more order that came in while I was packing the other orders, and it's a box of brass cabinet pulls, and these sold for $11.44 plus shipping. With the last order that I just showed you, the cabinet pulls, it does bring my total up to $63.10. So, you know, it is what it is. When I give you the total of the orders going out, that's never including shipping. But no, the totals that I give you are just with the buyer paid, not counting shipping or taxes. So that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.